welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time to get down to business. We've seen one team eliminated already, and well, would you have called it? That's the question with your predictions earlier on. Epic Gaming are out.
They're gone. 0-2. That last game was honestly pretty amazingly crazy, though.
A game of throws, I believe.
They're playing catch.
They are
throwing
playing
it back
catch,
and forth.
Yeah, we saw them Reddit threads, but very well put by those guys. But so, that's it. Team Tower Dive now versus Good Game University. One of these is going to get through to tomorrow, but one is going to go home and join Epic Gaming.
I think
Who would it be?
The favorite coming in, Good Game University. Their game against Fear was pretty close. Fear beat them on it fairly handily by the end of it.
Yeah.
Team Tower Dive would have the momentum coming in from the last game, but at the same time, you could see in that last match against Epic, they do have problems closing games.
Yeah.
So even if they get the lead on GGU, I don't know if they're going to be able to drive it home.
And remember, GGU managed to beat Epic really within 23 minutes, I think it was, something like that. They were joining us.
Yeah.
About 20
because our game was 25 minutes.
It could have been a crazy level 1 fight. We don't know how that snowballed, how that came about, but that was a long game by Team Tower Dive.
Over 50 minutes, yeah.
And that really, they could have lost it, and then they could have won. They could have lost it, they could have won it. Wow, crazy match.
Any of those moments could have just ended their dream right there. Right? They could have been just out of it. I know a lot of fans are probably disappointed Epic Gamer's gone. Dandin,
There's a lot of fan
Salsy,
favorites.
West Rice, just, it's too bad. I mean, even Pure Golden Boy gets to finish pharmacy school now because he hadn't been playing that much due to that, but doesn't have to worry about splitting time between that anymore.
Gets to keep his school going, but
yeah.
So I mean, it's not over for these guys. Let's be clear.
Challenger circuit, yeah.
All of the teams that are here, they're all good players. Let's be frank.
Yep.
There's going to be 8 teams looking for substitutes. As far as I'm aware, there's Link as one, which is at CLG.
Yeah.
Curse have got
Rux.
Rux.
But they're not even in the league yet.
They're not even there yet. We'll see later on. But other than that, TSM don't have a sub yet, as far as I'm aware, that I know about.
Correct. Dignitas doesn't have one.
Could be Dandin.
Would be.
Would they go in the same team again, though? They never went in the same team before. Dan and Andy, obviously Reginald and Dandin brothers. They get on well, but not as a game.
Yeah, they get along well, but their personalities are not. They're both strong personalities, to say the least, so they may disagree with each other a bit in games.
And you may be wondering, we're talking about substitutes, of course. All the teams need subs. We're going to be playing every single week. Thursday, Friday in North America, Saturday, Sunday in Europe. So all of these 16 teams that will eventually qualify, 8 in America, 8 in Europe, will need substitutes. Because, frankly, things happen. People get ill. People need to go and do something else that week. Something crops up. I mean, to commit to an entire year, and it is 56 games overall, I believe. 28 games in the first section, 28 games in the second section.
That is something I cannot confirm.
I'm pretty sure that's how much it is. It's a
Okay.
lot of games.
Confirmed.
Confirmed straight away. So, yeah, I mean, that is a lot of games for these guys to commit to. That is a heck of a lot of League of Legends.
Regular season.
It is a regular
The sport
season.
league.
Yeah. So the
It'll be
problem is, you need someone that can fill in. If your top laner goes ill, mid laner, jungler, support, AD. If one of those guys goes ill, you need 2 supports. I'm not saying supports, but 2 subs to basically get in there. So there's a lot of spots available for these guys.
Even Nijaki from Curse isn't going to the next line for them. I am Katowice. Rux is going in mid because they couldn't get his visa in time.
They couldn't get his visa in time, so immediately they've got a sub for next weekend.
Yep.
GGU, they look good, they look calm, they look confident. Right there on your screens.
They look a little worried, in all honesty. I can see that. I can see a little bit of worry on their face.
Damie's not playing for Team Tower Dive.
No.
She's standing and she's sorting all the computers out, making sure everybody's got the settings right. And we've got a little fancy gizmo here that these guys can just do a little drop-down select and get their settings ready, speeding things up.
They were all in yesterday so they could set their key bindings, mouse sensitivities, absolutely everything, and it got saved in a setting for them. They show up, log in, pow. They should be ready to go on the computers. But still takes the matter of getting them from the other set to this one. They were just on the second stage, no break for them. GGU, having that defeat, had a bit of time to think about it, regroup, whereas Team Tower Dive hasn't really had time to plan.
And we can see that GGU have chosen to go blue side at the moment. We can see it in the select screen. We've had some discussions over this lately, Jat, off air, of really the sides, the benefit of the blue and the red right now. Used to be that the blue was always picked because you had the golems down the bottom, gave you a bit of an advantage, helped you get level 2 earlier on.
Yep.
But it seems lately that certainly in Korea, certainly in a lot of tournaments, that it's starting to become the red side for the counters.
It's starting to get that way. It's definitely not there yet.
Yeah.
Because in Season 2, you're right, it was like 95.5% of the time. Blue side is the side you always wanted. But now that there's like so many, another thing that's contributing to the swap, it's probably about 60-40, 66-33 blue side to red side now. A couple things contributing to that. It could just be so many champions that can go both top lane or jungle or mid lane, right? Just the absolute swapping, making your teams more versatile. And then there's also the fact that double golems aren't necessarily as easy to take. The rising prevalence of the two-man laners being better up top. And that last counter pick being more and more valuable for these guys as they try to complete team comps.
And there you go. That's the
Hand
hand warmer
warmers.
that you were talking about
Yes.
earlier on in the day. That's one of the things you've got to do. You've got to keep your hands warm. And it's a big important part because at the end of the day, these two hands, that is your game right there.
Mm-hmm. My hands are cold right now.
My hands are cold.
I know. We need
Hand warmers. No, we're not quite at that level. Well, I'm not anymore. You may
Nope,
be, but I'm not.
not even close.
Not even close anymore. But yeah, so what are they going to discuss? They're coming up to the match here. You can see them on the screen. They were sat there. Last-minute preparations. Obviously, these guys are prepared heavily. They've not faced Team Tower Dive, but they will have researched them. They will have known exactly what's going against them. Team Tower Dive as well against Good Gamers University. They would have expected to win this one. Both teams expect to win. Everybody's coming into this tournament. Nobody's going, we're going to come up here and we're going to suck. Nobody said that. Everybody's coming here saying, 100% we're going to qualify.
I'd say Team Tower Dive would have done more scouting on GGU than GGU would have done back for them. Because if they're shooting to be the upset team, you had fairly clear first and second seeds in Fear and in GGU, and they should have their plan for them. Whereas GGU might not know that Team Tower Dive team because they were probably expecting Epic Gamer to be the ones they would have to play in this match if they were to get through again.
Well, we are into Champion Select, and let's see what bands they're going to come up with here, Chad. What are you expecting from these two teams? We've seen some fairly standard ones, but a Rumble band to start with.
I think Imanjo's going to try to play Lulu again for sure, but as far as bands, Evelyn has got to be banned.
Absolutely.
Blitzcrank, most likely banned. From there, we might see a Shen because it does seem like Team Tower Dive like that a lot, but they're really taking their time with that last ban, letting the clock go down all the way to 0. Aurelia and Eve.
Wow.
So GGU knows what
They know what they want.
They're just spamming the click button right the entire time as they're trying to get their bans back.
So Aurelia being taken away. So Zion Spartan top lane, keeping that away from him. Do you think they're going to go for Nidalee?
They could go for anything, in all honesty. They could go Elise, right? They have the dual class
We've
Elise
seen
that they
Elise
could
in
do.
pretty
We've
much
seen
most of
Elise
the
in
game so
jungle.
far, yeah.
Elise is going to be seen in a lot of the games. Even last night in the OGN, we saw Elise supporting as well. So
Support Elise.
Elise was twice in that
I have
five-game set.
never
last
seen
game.
that, that's for sure.
Pretty
But that just
aggressive in
shows
the
the
1v2
versatility
lanes.
of the game. The fact that these teams can pull things out. Most teams, if you're just selected down a solo queue, they'll be like, that's it, I'm leaving.
It's probably what's still happening, to be fair.
But these top teams, well, there you go. Kha'Zix being banned out and Blitzcrank. We kind of expected it. GGU just watched TDT playing against Epic. We saw Westrise on Kha'Zix. Didn't quite work out for him. And Rise, the final ban. Wow, insta-lock, Shen.
That was one of those things that we thought would be banned. GGU obviously sees a lot of strength for it.
We've just seen Misfortune for TDT. Do we get a Mumu Misfortune?
That would be the combo, right? That's what so many people have been running towards. MF by herself doesn't seem to be quite as potent, but the bullet time, especially with how much AD is available now. If you get 300 attack damage on Misfortune, your ultimate does 2,000 damage over 2 seconds. Mumu's ultimate locks people in place for 2 seconds.
Put an assassin
Smack
on
him
top
down.
of that,
Yeah.
you're in trouble. And speaking of assassins, we haven't really seen an assassin mid yet. Despite the fact that in all the games, all the solo queue, everything we've been seeing, everything that's built up towards it, we're expecting to see all these top assassins now in mid, still being the AP champions.
One of those things, you know, like I feel like it's on the way of moving in, but that's a lot of it in solo queue and a lot of perception. So many of these guys, though, like especially for the teams that have been together for a while, have their practice set of champions, and you can't just pick up a whole new roster of 5 or 6 assassins and bruisers just like that. A lot of them picked up Kha'Zix, to be fair, but Kha'Zix is getting banned all the time, so that's not really added to their repertoire yet.
It's because he's OP.
A little bit.
A little bit. I can tell you now, if this was Alex Ich, he'd be playing it.
Yeah, he will be.
Only plays OP champs. But you can see a couple more champs getting selected. What's Vlad they went for, which means Katarina and Nunu have now been picked up. Katarina, that's a champion that's been banned in the last 2 games we've covered. Strong champ.
And Team Tower Dive had Draven banned from them in the previous game, and if they pick Lulu as well, they'd be stealing it away from Iamandro, who just mains the crap out of Lulu. So those would be really smart picks for Team Tower Dive, and we get to see Draven.
Question is that going to be a Vladimir in mid or top? Oh, Twitch. Wow, Twitch locked in. Wow.
No messing
GGU
around.
know exactly what they want.
And that almost had nothing to do with the picks. Like,
That's a top lane Katarina, Science button.
Yep, that's got to be it. So Karthus mid, Nunu support, obviously. They had that locked in for a while. Thinking back, the Lulu pick wouldn't have been a counter pick because they'd already had Shen and Nunu. So they decided that they were going support Nunu, not support Lulu. And for the last pick here, this is when we're going to find out whether Vladimir goes top lane or mid lane. And this would give them a window, especially if they want something locked up. Like a mid Jarvan or something, but no. Double AP, if TF's mid, they're just going with the old standard.
The old standard. Will it be TF being locked in? TF versus... Oh, Lee Sin being switched across. It could be Lee Sin mid. That is very viable.
Could be
In
Lee
fact, to the
Sin.
point that I've seen a lot of Amumu's top lately.
You've seen a lot of Amumu's top.
Yeah.
What
AP
elo are you
Amumu's.
playing in?
Lower than yours, that's for sure.
I haven't seen that.
That-
I don't think we're going to see that in competitive.
I don't think we're going to see that in competitive. But Singed was the final pick, so it's going to be Singed in top versus Katarina.
So, all right, let's see how this ends up going. That's a tough matchup for Singed, I think. Katarina's going to be able to get a lot of farm, Singed, and she'll be able to clear waves. Maybe it won't be as tough now that I think about it. But overall team comps, I'd have to say I like the initiative that Team Tower Dive is putting in there. Amumu comboed with Lulu is quite strong. They got their comfort 80 carry for Kisuke on Draven. Across the board for GGU. Don't Mash Me tried to play Twitch in the North American regionals. He just tried to play Twitch a lot frequently. When they combo that with Karthus' AoE, it should be good. They lack a bit in CC though, so they're really going to have to fight almost when Team Tower Dive wants to fight, which could be a bit tricky.
It does surprise me they didn't go for anything assassin either. The fact that they have Twitch, they have the Karthus, these are 2 very quick, easy poppable champions.
It's going to be tough for them. In all honesty, the assassin should have happened, but maybe, maybe Cybolic hasn't practiced in as many assassins, right? These guys have not been together for very long.
True.
They didn't even know until a week ago if they'd qualify for this tournament. It's a tough thing to pick up all those assassins and play them at a competitive level, and especially when the pressure's on the line. You fall back so much onto what you know, and it's been such a new evolution in the game to have the assassins and the bruisers mid. These guys might just not be ready to pull it out yet.
And there is a heck of a lot of pressure on the line, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the final group game. This is North American Season 3 qualifiers. If this team get through, they'll make it through to day 2, but one of these will be going home in around about an hour's time, and that will be all over for those guys, and you do not want to be that team. That is for damn sure, Jat. So we are going to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here in Los Angeles. Everything will be covered today. Do not fear, you have not missed a single game. We're going to have 2 streams running throughout the day, but today it is all about Stream 1 right now. It is Good Game University, formerly as Team Dynamic. They are the blue team, and Team Tower Dive TV as the red team, Jat. Team comps set aside, will we see any level 1 fight?
So Team Tower Dive has not decided to do any level 1s, and GGU as the favorites, really, of this game, looking to be very conservative so far.
So here we go. You can see Zevez sat around the side there, or Xev, I should say. Xev.
Had to ask all these guys last night, how do you want your name said? Because they got Z's and X's before
He didn't
everything.
even know.
And he's like, I haven't decided yet. You better decide right now.
You're going to make us look foolish. You better get your name right now. But as it stands,
30 seconds until
the ward goes down in that river. So that's not a standard level 1 ward.
Nope, that is definitely not. It's almost like they thought an invade might be coming through from that brush, so they warded it just to be sure. And, to be even more sure, Team Tower Dive puts one in the exact same brush. I'd almost say those are 2 fairly wasted wards.
But is that a scouted? Is that a simple case of they scouted the opposition, they knew something was probably going to come? If they're going to come across, that's the route they take.
That's got to be the reasoning behind that, right? Like, they never place a ward without thinking about it. It's got to be because they were thinking of an invade, or if they warded the brush, they thought, well, maybe they warded that brush so they could all go into it, so they had to counter ward.
Well, we are seeing sets up here. It is going to be a lane switch as well, so how is that going to work out in favor of whoever?
Well, we'll see Nunu and Twitch against Singed. It's going to be really tough for Yurik up top, I'd have to say. Twitch and Nunu can go very all in, and you don't have to worry about going all in if you're only against one member, so that could be very strong for GGU. Katarina, actually not that bad in 1v2. You'd be surprised, considering she's a melee champion. She has a lot of wave clear and ability to farm from range with her Q, so I'd say deciding to do a lane swap is good for GGU.
So we're seeing a definite difference from game one here. XZEV did take the blue buff. He is planning on taking the rest of his jungle by the looks of it. He's not going to be completely babysit that top lane because obviously the two members up there, they've just walked straight past that ward. They're going for the red buff here, chat.
And this is one of the things they can do against an Amumu who's very vulnerable in the jungle. They're going right for it, but even though they have 4 members on this side of the map, Team Tower Dive collapsing faster.
Collapsing round because that ward, they completely knew what was happening, forced the flash away from Ayamanjo, and they do completely beat them away. They got the ward in the red bush though.
We'll see if they can continue to harass onto XZEV here. They have 4 members on this side of the map. If they want to shove up lanes and go, they can go. He's got to smite it.
Oh!
He
got it! No!
No.
No! Couldn't quite see it, but XZEV does manage to keep it, and that was pretty much basic attack versus basic attack.
That was really strange because Nintendo has his smite. XZEV used smite before the red buff was down, but he must have lost the model somewhere, or the ward was around a corner and he couldn't see it.
Did he?
Really good by XZEV to get that red.
Did he smite the small minion?
Yeah, I think he did.
I think he did. I'm not going to go out on a limb here, but I think that maybe that's something we're checking a replay, but I think he smited the small minion. I think that's what he went in and went, whoop, ah. Maybe.
I think he got it.
Nevertheless, XZEV is up this top lane, and well, it's exactly what we saw in game one, isn't it? We saw him babysitting that top lane. Yurik is going to need a little bit of hand-holding here, and you can see they're trying to catch on towards Don't Mash Me, but not going to be able to do a lot about it this one. Have a look down the bottom here. You can see the damage coming on towards the turret. Draven is going to get a lot of poke on towards Zion Spartan here.
It's going to be really tough. Draven, an extremely aggressive laner. They might be able to punish a little bit with Shen here if they continue to push up. So often you see teams trying to help their 1v2 laner more and more, but there's no crowd control follow-up from Zion Spartan in this lane. And I actually went back and checked. The Amumu XZEV did wait until the right moment to smite, and he just beat out Nintendo X with it.
Ah, so a battle of smites. I thought there must be something in there. Oh, they're going to dive on towards KCK. KCK in all sorts of trouble. He ignites down. Then, well, you can see Zion Spun. They bought. Oh, perfect long-range taunt from Nintendo Dex there. And now they may turn it on to Koso as well. Is it enough to tower dive? I don't think it isn't. They're going to back away, but he's got to be careful. Nintendo Dex's taunt will be back up in a moment. Meanwhile, at the top here, they're just clearing wave after wave. And, well, first blood.
Could have been a nerve reaction thing a lot of times. That was a flash taunt by Nintendo X. And
the
then
diving.
Kisuke died with his flash still up. So because of that, they're able to push the pressure back through, completely deny Koso off the turret, and really give Zion Spartan an edge in that 1v2 lane.
And it was perfect timing because it was just the right time that Koso went to place that ward in the tri-bush.
They had just good, I'd almost say senses, because they had no wards around there and they just ganked at the right moment.
So what sort of pressure does that put you in? The fact you've just lost that first blood, you're 1-0 down against a team that is perceived by the whole community, as well as us, as to be a better team.
Even after coming off the game against Epic, it makes it really tough. They didn't come into this game with any kind of gimmicks or anything. They think, you know, they used that first gimmick on the game against Fear with the 2-man top lane. And it really means they just have to take a step back and refocus, because so many times you start tilting after something like that, it's going to be really tough for them.
Okay, we can see the item difference between the two junglers as well. So you can see Amumu just gone back. He's bought, while Shen's just been back. He's bought. He's going up towards the Wriggles, I guess. Which way would you normally go? Bearing in mind you are a jungler.
As Shen?
Yeah.
All the Shens go.
Shen or Amumu.
All the Shens go Madrid's Razors. Amumus generally go Spirit Stone. These are the standard builds. Amumu needs the health and mana regeneration from that Spirit Stone to go, whereas Shen doesn't clear the jungle that fast. Single targets, going right for the Razor. And see Amumu going up top to hold, but Shen going bottom to probably gank.
This top lane is taking a hell of a lot of damage. You can see Don't Mash Me just burning it down there. XZEV does return, tries to clear that wave as quick as he can. Got to make sure he gets the 40 gold off that siege minion. Meanwhile, down the bottom, can also see that Nintendo Dex back with his old team buddy, new team buddy as well. They've been together a long time, these two team players. So it's expecting for him to sit and hold that lane, but honestly, Zion Spartan is pushing this lane.
Nintendo Dex with his team, kind of the on and off and on again relationship. He was once removed from Team Dynamic. Then they did poorly without him. Then they brought him back. Then they had a few other roster changes with Zig and Pixel having to leave. But Zion Spartan and Nintendo Dex are the two here kind of from the start now on Good Game University.
Continuing to just keep the CS up. No problem whatsoever. You mentioned it at the start. 34 to 18 up that top lane. Top lane turret very low already. Meanwhile, in this bottom, we haven't had a chance to talk about these two guys. It is going to be Shifter on Karthus versus Cybolic on Vladimir.
We'll see how Shifter does here because GGU's manager and the entire team was so enthusiastic about how good he would be. They could not believe he wasn't on a team when they were looking for a mid player because he plays everything and they say he plays it very, very well. Whereas Cybolic, he was the one name I definitely recognized from the Team Tower Dive roster, but at the same time, he also hasn't been on that many teams before. And this matchup already being a little bit outfarmed by Karthus, he should be able to aggress a bit on Karthus early, and he hasn't been able to do that thus far.
And I've got a bone to pick to them, because all the team were calling him Shifter yesterday, and yet it's clearly Shifter, because that's a PH.
We'll have to...
But that's what the team called him as well, Shifter.
Shifter.
Shifter. They were calling him in the interview, so I guess that's the name they've been going with. As it is, Don't Match Me continues to pressure this turret, and there it goes. First turret down, 8 minutes into the game. The question is, how are they going to turn? Are they going to push down towards the bottom? Are they going to pressure on? Can they get in for this red buff before XF going to take it away just in time? And then Bandage tosses, and I think Amjo was just going, whoop, there he goes.
Yeah, well, I guess his blue is gone, and they're just going to roam straight towards mid lane. Now that they took that early turret so quickly, should be able to just take him down.
And we just caught a flash there from Keisuke down in that bottom lane. Nintendo Dex didn't quite catch his man this time around, but as you see, Zion Spartan continuing to pick up all of the gold down there. Once he gets that Haunted Guys out, he's like, yep, my item build's complete.
And if you have bones to pick about name pronunciation, Keisuke, Team Tower Dives Draven, ZXK, it's just, you know, you just gotta say Keisuke, and that's about all you can do.
It's a mess of a name, and it is Keisuke, and he is on Draven. Unfortunately, at the moment, he is struggling up. We are seeing the teams grouping up here, so potential for Dragon Jet.
And there is the potential for that, but it's pretty early. They don't want to team fight against Amumu and let them get back into this. They're winning. GGU is winning the lanes so hard right now. They're not going to go for any Dragon. If someone's going to have to initiate the Dragon, it's going to be Team Tower Dive. But they're going to be gun shy from that because the first game against Fear, they also had to do that, and that was pretty much the moment they lost.
Interesting choice from GGU there. They pushed the lane on a little bit, but they've actually chose to go back up the top lane. So they're thinking, okay, Zion Spartan, you're actually doing fine down the bottom in this 2v1. You're actually doing okay, so we may as well just go up and completely pressure Yurik.
That's exactly what they're doing there. They're probably going to lose this turret down bottom, though, with Zion Spartan thinking about going back. Keisuke and Zion Spartan. Here comes the Shenel. They're actually going big.
Stan United comes in, as does the Requiem. They're going to catch up towards Keisuke. Keisuke just plopped where he stands. Zion Spartan was there. And, well, again, the exact same moment Kosu went up towards the top there to place that one in the tri-bush was simply a spectator.
And that's exactly what they had planned. They said, because they could have swapped that for Twitch and Nunu to go bottom, but they knew that Nintendo had his ult up, and that's something they probably planned minutes in advance before that gank. They saw the window, they went for it, because we knew Keisuke wanted to finish off that bottom turret, and they completely punished him for that line of thinking.
Wow, so that is the second turret of the game going down. Good Game University in full control of this match now. And now we can see the mid lane. Oh, Shifter just avoiding the damage. He did a fantastic job of catching the wall of pain there. He's going to try and keep pressure on towards Cybolic. Zevez, X-Zev, get his name right eventually. He's keeping the pressure, but that mid turret is actually taking a lot of damage.
So across the board, bottom and top, their turrets are a little bit low. They flash to go in. They're trying to get Zion Spartan. They just don't have the closing potential. Amumu and Vlad are coming around, though.
Amumu and Vlad are closing in from the top there. XF has to land a perfect bandage toss, though. Good taunt there, and well, actually, he's just going to bait them back. Oh, look at him go! The question is, can he catch up? You can see, meanwhile, in the mid, they're losing the turret. There's a three-man push in the mid. They're just piling through. They've managed to get the Ignite down. Yurik should be able to take Zion Spartan down, but they've delayed them long enough that they may lose the mid turret. One kill for a mid turret, definitely not worth it.
Yeah, this is where everyone on GGU types worth in chat and then runs away because the amount of distraction. All 5 members of Team Tower Dive were down there just to get Zion Spartan, who 1 kill, you know, not much. If they can turn a dragon off of this, it'll be at least a little bit more respectable. And the mid turret, interesting, was left with 100 health, so until that turret falls, it was actually okay.
It was actually okay, and it is going to be Team Tower Dive picking up the first dragon of the game. 12 minutes gone, and there we go, first one down. So let's have a look across the board, have a look across the lanes. You can see Draven 82 to 88 CS, so pretty much even between the 2 AD carries, despite the fact he's 0-0 though. And you can see the gold advantage, 200 gold slightly to GGU. Across the board though, GGU definitely with the advantages.
Gotta say though, if you pick Draven and you don't roll over your lane, you didn't get the maximum potential out of Draven. He is so strong in that early laning phase, and to trade essentially with Don't Mash Me's Twitch is going to be trouble once the teamfight phase breaks out, because Draven in teamfights isn't chop meat, but Twitch in teamfights is amazing with that spray and pray ultimate.
Yeah, and he's going to have the defensive cover, of course. Iron Manju's just going to sit on his backside. Anyone goes near him, absolute zero. Goes off, Nintendo Dex going to get the taunt out. Now they're going to try and steal the blue buff away. You can see Twitch was pushing the lane just off the side. XF is going to come in. He wants to try and smite this away. They both have it. Actually, no, XF doesn't have it yet. He's just delayed it. Nice tactic.
There's a pink ward in the brush that GGU would be able to clean out, giving them a little bit more supremacy over the spot. All 5 members of both teams starting to close in. Karthus getting pinged down. We could very well see a fight here because the positioning is just awkward.
Yeah, they are all split a little bit. Don't Mash Me catching on towards Iron Manju. Now you can see Urek actually going in towards Don't Mash Me. He's popped his ultimate. He's going to go in, put the glue down, going to get the flip off. You can see the rest of the team coming in, but Don't Mash Me and Zion Spartan also there. Here comes the Karthus Requiem. Is it going to be enough? Coaster back, taking down very low. Nintendo Dex now going to get on towards him. Iron Manju absolute zero out of the bush there. The Vladimir ultimate's not going to be enough as well. XF taking very low. Nintendo trying to finish them off. Meanwhile, at the top of the lane, you can see XF just going to get dropped down the bottom there. Zion Spartan trying his best. Is it enough? The Ignite running on Draven. No, he's going to get away. Zion Spartan, one more hit from Cybolic would have been enough now. Nintendo Dex, could he get a full length taunt on towards Cybolic? A flash taunt! That's what it is. And Zion Spartan very careful, making sure he doesn't get caught out. The Blood Pool comes out. Zion Spartan picks up the kill. Nicely done. And wow, an extended map fight there, but it came out in GGU's favor.
3-4-1, really. Don't Mash Me presenting himself as a target, and the rest of GGU just damage everywhere on their team. You think of Karthus and Katarina, you think damage, and then you add on Twitch, he's also just kind of a damage AD carry. So even though Team Tower Dive got Don't Mash Me out of the fight early, it didn't matter because everyone else from GGU rolled up and took advantage of the awkward positioning Tower Dive had put themselves in.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates and a lot of summoner spells burnt there fairly early on in the fight. GGU just took full advantage, and well, Don't Mash Me now with that Bloodthirster, he's just going to clean out a huge wave at the top, which honestly is just as good as getting the kill.
That's got to feel good for Twitch, especially since he's picked up that Bloodthirster, getting the early stacks on it. Already got 15 stacks coming in on that Bloodthirster, so well on his way to doing huge amounts of damage on Twitch. You can also see Kisuke getting that red buff, but even with that, 0-2 versus 1-1, Draven looking a little weak.
Man, that Draven is a lot of work in that micro when you're fighting the red there, instead of just standing there fighting. You're running around.
It's a mini game in itself.
So, GGU, they have the advantage. It's a 3k gold lead, but is it going to be enough to secure victory here? Of course, this is Season 3. This is the qualifiers. And one of these teams, whoever loses, is going to be out of the tournament, going home, packing with very much sad faces. And honestly, it's a ton of pressure for both these teams.
More pressure, I'd say, is on GGU. People don't expect Team Tower Dive to make it through, but most people, especially GGU, expect themselves to make it through. And just out of the group stage is only going to narrow it down to 8, where tomorrow they'd play for their spot to get in. But looking good thus far, 4,000 gold lead, just sweeping the outer ring of turrets, controlling the dragons. We'll really see if they can continue to hold this lead.
Zion Spartan cleaning out the waves. Of course, Dragon not available for another few moments, which is why they're pinging at the mid. And they seem really just happy to delay the game out a little bit here. They don't want to go pushing. Looks like they don't want to push the lanes too far. They don't want to go too aggressive. It's just a case of farming out what's available.
It's a matter of them taking it slow, in all honesty. They think they have it. Nunu Twitch, Katarina Karthus, they just feel like that scales better than the Wombo combo AoE that Team Tower Dive has. they can just keep their team fights spread out. If Shifter can stay ahead of the rest of the team in team fights, they should be okay. So they've been winning lanes really this entire time. They just got to continue to win lanes, and the team fight wins will come to them.
So we do see Zion Spartan continue to push on the top lane. He has got good ward coverage, so if they do try and collapse across, you can see Urek trying to get the poison trail near him, but he's not having any of it. He's catching out nicely. Meanwhile, the mid lane, there's pressure coming up there. The top lane, Nintendo continuing to push as well. And there's Don't Mash Me and Anjo following through. He's got Shifter just following through. And they are surely going to slowly but surely collapse on this. Zion Spartan's kept 2 members busy on the bottom.
And even Nintendo X is soloing up as a jungler because of the early kills he was able to get, keeping the pressure there. This is incredibly difficult for Team Tower Dive to keep track of. Something's got to give pretty soon here because this pressure's going through.
There it is. It could be Kosamak. Kosamak trying to get away from there. Has to use the Lunar ultimate to back away. So that's one ulti burnt already. They're backing away. Meanwhile, you can see the combo going up towards the top. Urek gets the flip on towards Zion Spartan. He takes a couple of tower hits as well. The ignite could be enough damage. One more poison trail. The flash through, and he just survives. Meanwhile, at the top lane, they're burning that turret down. They've got the combine. Zion Spartan trying to dodge. XF has to use his ultimate, but that's 3 ultimates, I feel, burnt there just to keep it away, and they're going to pick up this top turret. Is it enough? Can they keep it off? They're tanking it up. Don't Mash Me picks it up.
And they won't be able to chase this down, I don't think. They get the Vladimir out, but Mash Me should be all right. And that was just a matter of their pressure taking over across the map. Something had to give, and it turned out it was the second tier top turret.
So, definitely not worth it. 1 kill of Zion Spartan, who kept 3 members of the team busy while they took the top turret. They are going to get the bottom turret. The siege minions should take care of that one. They are maybe going to turn this into a dragon as well.
Except trying to get this down, and this is a dragon for sure for them, and a turret in all honesty. So you get the gold from the turret, you get the gold from the dragon. They're pretty much just going to have to avoid it until they have their ultimates up before they fight again. But you look at the gold, and even though we've been talking like GGU's been in total control, gold speaks otherwise.
The gold does speak otherwise. It's still very close, just 2,000 between the two, but it is 4-1 in turrets, and turrets win games. Gold count helps, but turrets going down helps even more. We've seen it so often from the Korean teams. They've led the charge with simply dropping turrets left, right, and center. Within 10 minutes of the game, they can be across the board, and that gives them a huge map control. The top inner turret being down already is huge.
And you look even at the red jungle of Team Tower Dive, there's already a couple GGU wards in there. The blue buff just spawned for TDT, but that's probably good games blue buff for themselves. They see the Draven stuck up top. They're just going to go ahead and take this for themselves. So because they have the turret advantage, there's no way that Team Tower Dive can get a hold of any of their objectives. So even if you're close in gold, it doesn't matter if you don't have access to fights.
And Nintendo just working damage on towards that bottom turret. The bottom turret already down to half. XF now getting pressured as well. Anjo pushing on. Don't Mash Me taking the turret damage. That's less than ideal. So they're not going to get too much damage. XF's got to be careful. Doesn't want to come back into this one. Meanwhile, the battle continues on the bottom lane as well. They're going back and forward. It's Nintendo X now, acting almost like a top laner, basically. He's just got, like you say, so strong early on. That Sunfire Cape in there, he's just keeping them busy. And again, it's down to Twitch with the Blood Boil just ripping through this turret.
And he's really, Nintendo has transitioned himself into a top lane build. He has 500 more gold than Yurik Mizuno on Singe. So he is stronger than Team Tower Dive's top laner, allowing him to do that, which means as well that Zion Spartan just gets to be like a farming AP mid Katarina. You don't need to worry about your top lane duties, and they get even more presence when they're with 4.
Don't Mash Me also taking away the red buff there, so it's just taking everything away from Team Tower Dive right now. They have to really pull something special off. And look at that, Nintendo just taunting him there, Urek. It's just like, I am not going anywhere, I'm going to stay in this lane. And like you mentioned, it's effectively like they've got a new top laner and a double AP strat.
He's got an extra level on Yurik Mizuno. He actually popped his ultimate, singed it in the bottom lane, and it was for no good. He's just uselessly chasing Nintendo down there. In mid, they might try to fight off here. There's the bandage.
Here comes Gus to the Sad Mommy. They do catch onto a Shifter. The ultimate from Draven does catch onto him, and that will be Shifter going down very early on. But we're going to see the Requiem. That's going to be Cybolic dropping. Is he going to come out of the pool just at the right time? Zevez now going to get down as well. XF Koso's going to get taken down very low. Don't Mash Me should finish him off. It was indeed. And meanwhile, down there, here comes the Stan United. He got the kill, and it should have been KCK. KCK just the last man standing. Now we see Urek coming in. Urek, you're going to be 4v1. What are you doing, man? Back away. KCK is going to avoid the damage from Zion Spartan here, but they just turn back to the mid turret.
And this is, again, them just relentless pressure. The 5th turret of the game coming down. Sure, Kisuke was able to avoid, but he's going to execute himself, meaning that push is going to continue. The death timer is just coming up now for Team Tower Dive. They're probably going to get this inhibitor turret.
They are. They're going to get it down, and you can see it's just burning down. Don't match me. No problem setting that on. They're just going to turn it towards Yurik. Bad timing there as Nintendo just simply taunts him out. Don't match me will go down here, I believe. Cybolic manages to take him down. He could clean up here. I am Andrew taking down very low. One more hit will be enough. Flashes for it. Does manage to catch it. So a double kill for Cybolic, but honestly, not worth it for an inhibitor turret going down.
Have to say, Yurik, even though he came in at that moment, it was probably the right call. He did manage to get them the 2 extra kills, and getting the damage and gold into Cybolic's hands for that Warmog's armor Vladimir is going to be very important. It's really key that he gets damage on Vladimir at this point, since he started with the very tanky route.
So, 9-6 in kills, 6-1 though in turrets. Still only a 4k gold difference, not that huge of a gap, still just over 10%, but honestly, the fact that that inhibitor turret is down is a huge deal for GGU right now.
And I want to point out here, the Sword of the Divine being completed onto Don't Mash Me. So he's went with a full AD build, and the new unique active for Sword of the Divine is your next 3 attacks crit. The thing is, his ultimate applies critical strikes as well. So in a team fight, if they open up, you'll get 3 crits essentially on the entire team, which could be very important.
That would be a lot of damage if hit in the right place at the right time. And again, Nintendo continues to farm off. They're going to try and collapse on towards that top turret. Of course, Nintendo will have his Stand United available in around 30 seconds time, but I think Team Tower Dive may pick themselves up a tower here. I don't think they're going to contest this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a very open field once this turret goes down, because that's 9 turrets over. But wow, Zion Spartan getting caught out. They might have to fall back.
They may have to fall back because the Sad Mommy comes out, and there is the Twitch ultimate. It has caught all the members. They're all in a perfect line. There's going to be the absolute 0. That gets dropped out. Yurik's getting caught out, but there's a lot of damage to GGU members here. The Shifter does get in time, and wow, they are just cleaning house. XZev comes in, but it's not going to be enough, and Zion Spartan baited out all of the damage and survived.
It ended up working out for him pretty generously at that point. I thought they would get caught out. Team Tower Dive seemed like they had the edge, but they spent everything going in to get their AoEs off, that they had nothing to escape Good Game University's huge amounts of damage. And even before the game, we said GGU would need Team Tower Dive to kind of decide to fight before GGU would be able to go in, because they don't have crowd control themselves, and they did it perfectly right there.
And yeah, and Don't Mash Me was just sat there with his ulti just running the whole time in the bush. No problem. They were in perfectly lined up position. And that often is actually the case when you have an Amumu, because everybody kind of follows in onto the Amumu.
They have to.
Yeah.
That's the strategy.
It's like, you're going to get the... Okay, let everyone get it. Oh, wait a minute. We're all grouped up perfectly for this Twitch ulti that's just hitting us and critting us across the board. So, as it stands, 14-7 now. And that gold lead has just stretched itself immeasurably. And it is just shy of 6,000 gold. Shifter, of course, also in there with Defile running as well. Let's not underestimate that. He was catching them all out. I don't even think he didn't die in there either.
He died right at the end, I thought.
Yes, he did. Yes,
yeah.
the Amumu caught him on very much at the end. But it's going to be another dragon for Team Tower Dive. I think there's a ping on Baron from GGU.
Not going to be able to get any of them. Team Dynamic, Team Tower Dive was able to get that dragon again. Too many TDs and Ts coming in right here. But everyone on GGU really spread out right now. Just happy with that last team fight victory. And again, it's the huge amount of pressure and whether that's going to boil over, because the gold, since they're giving up all the dragons to Team Tower Dive, is staying pretty close.
So Stand United is available should they require it. Zion Spartan's getting kind of caught out there. Nicely uses the ward to just shift across. Shunpo's over and just avoids all of the damage, baiting effectively the whole team. Look at that. If that's not bait, I don't know what is. I'm just going to blue pill right in front of you. Don't worry, there's nothing here, honest. But yeah, they just keep continuing on. While this is all happening, they're keeping the Nintendo Dex taking this turret. He's going to get it.
And Nintendo Dex is becoming a huge problem. He's 8,500 gold, which is actually more than every member of Team Tower Dive would have individually. And that's just... They're going to have to send at least one member, maybe 2 to stop him, allowing GGU to do whatever they want.
He is. Nintendo Dex is just doing whatever he wants against XZev here. And he is just going to have to force away. Meanwhile, the top lane has a huge push coming out from GGU. And well, don't mash me with that Blood Boil. He's going to put a lot of damage down to his turret. You can see Nintendo Dex continue on there. The ulti from Draven is not going to be enough. Everybody just baiting it out. The damage continuing between the two teams, and they're just going to keep farming out this wave. And you can see the Bloodthirster just getting everything back.
Now with the Last Whisper as well, really, his sustained damage isn't going to be too high. It's all about the Twitch ultimate when Don't Mash Me presses that Sword of Divine Axe button. That's really when the team fight is going to be decided for GGU, and whether those ultimate bullets hit on the right people.
Well, Yorick trying to force Nintendo to wait. Don't Mash Me and Co switch to the middle and going to put pressure on towards the middle Nexus turrets. Get that super minion wave to push in there. And yet you can see they're rotating down towards the bottom now. Nintendo's like, well, I've got a wave coming. Let's deal with this. Let's see if we can try and push something out of it. They want to say you're either going to be a 4v4 or you're going to be a 4v5. Either way, you're going to lose an inhibitor turret. You can see Nintendo, he's got a big wave in there, and Cybolics had to deal with it along with XM.
I almost feel like this hasn't been getting them much, so GGU's going to go for Baron at this point. They have prep wards. You can see the pathway to Baron has been fairly well warded. They invested on the Oracles from I Am Angela. They're going to see that ward right in the middle and get rid of that. And they're just going to take this down as low as they can, and Team Tower probably won't get there in time.
Yeah, you can see they're going to work it down, and well, that's going to be the ulti running from Don't Mash Me. Actually, was it the ulti? No, he didn't have the ulti going. It was just the standard Mafia gun noise coming out there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, they're still going back and forward, and they've just hit and run. The question is, can they collapse on towards Nintendo Dex? You can see he realizes what's going to happen, and well, the older team of Yorick Mazzino is not enough. You can't pin down a Shen.
It's just not his day right now on Singed. He was stuck in a 1v2. That is not what Singed specializes in. They were never able to get him into an advantageous position. As soon as he was out of the lane, there was a super giant fed Shen from the jungle that he had to deal with. And he's been popping his ultimate, never really able to do anything. He comes in at the end of fights when it's 4v1 and has to kind of walk away. It's just not his day.
So 6k gold lead, Baron buff on towards Good Game University, formerly Team Dynamic, which is why we keep saying TD. Despite the fact that it is a TDT, it is 14-7 and 7-3 in turrets. Those turrets really have paid dividends. The fact they got them down early has just given the whole map advantage, and now this effective split pushing between either Zion, Spartan or Nintendo Dex, either one can just do the split push. Seems to be working out very well for them. The inhibitor is about to respawn though, so I guess the mid lane will be the target.
And for the most part, Good Game University can't pick their own fights. So the way they've been able to win this game is they keep the pressure up everywhere, saying, if you're going to let us do this, we're going to slowly take all your turrets and your inhibitors. We're forcing you to fight us right now. So anytime Team Tower Dive has had a window to try and punish GGU, that's where they get their fights. And they've been able to execute in the team fights, as you can see, with 14-7 kills. And of course, their split pushing strategy is working great. 7 turrets down already.
Okay, so everyone's just went back to buy for GGU, so let's go over the items they've picked up so far.
The big giant fed man for them is Karthus, in all honesty. He's got 255 minion kills. I believe he is top gold. Yes, he is. He's almost at 11k. Next thing's going to be a Void Staff for him, but he's just sitting in the middle of any fight with a Defile. Then the interesting build is Don't Mash Me's, because he's got that Sword of the Divine. He's not building any crit, because when you activate it, you'll get the 3 crit, and then lose it pretty much there. So it's a one-shot 80 carry as opposed to your sustained 80 carry, and hopefully the Twitch and Karthus get everything low enough so that the Magic Pen-focused Zion Spartans Katarina will be able to go in and clean up.
Okay, here's a debate that I think they're probably trying to do. If Stan United is running in and Yorick gets the flip on him, how would that work out in a 4v4?
Still feel like GGU would be able to take it over, in all honesty. I think the Standing United would still be enough shield, and I think the damage from Karthus Katarina and Twitch would be more than enough.
As it is, you can see that inhibitor going down. Here goes Yorick. He wants to get in there. He does get a flip. He flips on towards Zion Spartan. The last person you really want to flip is actually going to get Karthus down, but you can see there's just too much damage across the board, and everybody gets dropped there, and the cleanup crew of Twitch and Katarina completely obliterating now. And well, that is it. That's the ace. That is going to be the game. Good Game University are going to be going through to day 2, and Team Tower Dive, despite a resilient performance against Epic Gaming, are going to be going out of the Season 3 qualifiers, chat. What a great performance by GGU, though.
GGU, they have to be relieved right now. After losing that game to Fear, do or die for them. Win, you move on. Lose, you go home. You can see that Nintendo Dex just saying Zion Spartan, thank you, we made it through. They're nervous after this, but they're through. Don't match me standing up. Giving the high five to Nintendude. Good work by them. I have to say, they executed that team comp pretty perfectly, considering they got team fights without much initiation.
And not wild celebrations yet, because they realize that day 2 is when it really counts.
More work's coming, and even if they don't make it day 2, they'll still have to be there for day 3, so that's a long marathon-type qualification for these guys. They have to keep focused throughout the entire weekend.
And of course, their focus will be on the next group, because that's who they're going to be facing. They're finishing second in the group. They're going to be facing the first place from Group C, or Group B, as we're going to call it today.
Right.
Second group of the day. Who would they really want from that group? You know, now that they've seen Fear have gone through 2-0, no problem, nice clean group. And honestly, this was a pretty tough group, but they went through confidently. GGU went 1-1, a little bit shaky, blitzed through Epic Gaming, kind of blitzed through Tower Dive there, I guess. Struggled against Fear. Who are they really looking at in Group C?
So this is the group with Meat Playground, just so we're all clear.
Yes.
I'd have to say Meat Playground would be the favorite in that group, and they wouldn't be too sad about playing them. They've played a lot of scrims against them in most recent history.
Yep.
Because Meat Playground, that's coming up our next group, has lost 2 of their most famous members. They lost Pobelter and Light Sludge because they're under 17 and they're not able to play in the League Championship Series. But their draw, they're pretty happy with it, I'd have to say. They're looking pretty confident after that win.
So, what do we take from that game? What do we see from GGU? Anything spectacular, anything special, anything new with the builds, the way they played it? Don't Mash Me, of course, on Twitch.
I'd say the newest thing would be the Don't Mash Me's Twitch build. It's a nice gambit that they were able to pull off there, and they got the quick team fights going well. Showing a lot of versatility in the mid lane. Just playing Karthus and Ziggs isn't something that's happened that much in this new season. Looks like he's going to be able to do well. And just Shen, Nintendo X's presence, able to turn himself into a carry of his own, will be really big when they fight their next opponent.
Yeah, and of course it all started off with that kill on the bottom lane, but we do have a replay coming up from that last match. Of course, really, it was GGU's dominant position.
Yeah, and this was the last fight of the game. The Zonya's Hourglass right there. After Karthus got flung back, cleaned everything up, he was sitting in there long enough. He was actually requieming, but it didn't hit anyone because everybody was dead.
Everybody was already dead before it managed to land, and that was it. That was where they cleaned up. Ace came through, absolutely good for the team. So, GGU, they are through to day 2. Team Fear, if you missed it earlier on, through to day 2. So we have our first 2 teams through to day 2, but we have our second 2 teams out of the competition. Epic Gaming, big upset for the community maybe, out of the tournament, and Team Tower Dive TV also out of the tournament. What do we think? Who do we think else could join them on day 2?
Curse is a huge favorite.
Of course, yep.
I think, especially with how well Fear came out, being the team that was seated slightly behind Curse, it's looking really good for them. I think there's a couple almost not dark horse teams, but teams with some really good players. Dirtnap Gaming and the Brunch Club both have players from Team Legion, who was one of the top teams that was thinking to come in before they disbanded. Like, after the North American Regionals, everybody was saying, Team Legion, they're going to be into Season 3. They're really good. They had some epic games against CLG. I think like the 70-minute teleport fest that they had. Lauda Mortis is on the Brunch Club now. Prawley is on Dirtnap Gaming. The team is split around everywhere.
Yeah.
Demon Lull is also on
He's
Azure
just come back
as well.
Yeah,
He's just come back.
come
That team
back.
is spread everywhere. Everyone that has a member of Team Legion actually has a pretty good chance because those players were good.
They were good, and they had a good performance on LAN as well. That's the main thing. They performed on LAN, which effectively this is what it is. We call it on LAN. It just means offline tournaments. The pressure of the cameras, the lights, the sound guys around you, everything, basically. Every little bit of pressure. Knowing that your opponents are just the other side, facing you. There's so much pressure on these guys, and they're all so young.
It's a lot of pressure to deal with as a 17 or 18-year-old. I think it does and it doesn't.
You got the arrogance of
it's
youth,
like
maybe?
blissful ignorance almost. It's like you don't realize the significance of what you're doing sometimes. You just, there's 200,000 people watching me. I'm a superstar in my small community of League of Legends fans, or now huge community of League of Legends fans. Yeah, I'm just going to deal with it. Whatever.
They're going to deal with it. Well, let's see how they do deal with it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go take a quick break, but when we're back, it will be breakdown from Group A, which we've just seen. Also, we're going to have an interview with Zion Spartan and a preview of the next group, starting up with Meat Playground and Falafel Gaming. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Yeah.
Qualifier.